Picking up where we left off in our development of this illustration, we have the layer, I'll make it visible, with the tower and this structure from the second photo. First of all, we would need to enhance the second photo using that same preset, the Brussels photo preset, and there we have it. Now I'm going to show you how to select this section from the rest of the photo. Let me zoom in a bit. Now, if I use my polygon lasso, that is the item that will enable me to make straight line selections, go from point to point here, a little bit over there for the ledge, then up here. And at this point, I'm going to go across, and now I need to add to that selection this upper section. So switching now to the lasso tool and holding my Shift key down, which is the same as using the Add to Selection command, I will just make a loose selection around that area. A little bit more careful down here, of course. And now we have added that. All I need to do now is subtract this white sky. So I will switch to Magic Wand, subtract from selection, or use your Option or Alt key. Tap with my magic wand, little section over there, and I pretty much have what I need. Now I can copy it, paste it into the composite, tilt it with my transform tool, which is accompanied by the layer adjuster tool in the property bar, and then add a drop shadow. Using Effects, Objects, Create Drop Shadow. That's our next layer. And notice that when you do create a drop shadow on a layer in that way, it automatically is a group consisting of the item and its shadow as separate layers. So we did the same thing basically on the other side with this section. And so now we are ready to look at the next effect, which is a layer that has a pattern pen stroke, a couple of sprays with the image hose, and if we drag over here, a nice row of Brussels sprouts that were also created with the pattern pen. So let me call your attention back to photo number 2. Deselect that and zoom in a bit because I want you to see this plaque that says 1698, and that's what we used to create this pattern that was then stroked across the image. So the way to capture a pattern is simply to make a selection, copy it, Control or Command C, and then paste it into a new image. Drag it down over here. I'll just zoom in a bit. So now I simply need to select all and use the transform command to rotate it so that it is perfectly horizontal. Commit to that, and at this point, come in close, make a crop, and then select all again, and go to Pattern Controls and use the Capture Pattern command. It will prompt me to name it, which I've already done, and so I'll cancel that and show you if you want to make that on your own, that's the technique. But if you want the item already waiting for you in a pattern library, you can do so. I provided you with the 1698 pattern as well as the Brussels sprouts pattern. Given that you have the pattern you want, I've chosen it here, and then I'll go to my pattern pen masked. And the way to create that is stroke. It's pressure sensitive, so you'll start small and you get a little bit bigger and then taper off at the end. Undo that. The birds and urban fixtures down here were created with the spray size P of the image hose. I have provided you with the swallows and the urban fixtures, which are simply members of the current nozzle library. Let's make these other layers invisible so we can see more clearly what is going on with that layer. Here it is. Looks like I got a stray traffic light up here, so I'm just going to take an eraser and just get rid of that thing. So urban fixtures down here were created with the image hose and the urban fixtures nozzle, and so that's what this looks like. Again, pressure sensitive, and I'll just undo that. The Brussels sprouts were created with the pattern pen. Also, a special effect was added to them. So it was a matter of making a rectangular selection around the Brussels sprouts and then applying the apply screen. And it appears that was the last thing I did because these are the colors I used. I used a yellow, a green, and dark brown with paper texture instead of the other options here. Cancel that. Make all of these items visible, although I should actually undo that last Brussels sprout spray. And so here we are with our final image. This was actually done by selecting the people in the foreground of the original photo, enlarging them as a layer, and then applying a couple of effects. I used the Express texture, which is in Surface Control. And the effect of that, as you can see, is to create a black and white image that uses either paper or other variables, and then you can make changes to the variables here. The final effect was color overlay, and that was found in the Surface Control as well. So with color overlay, I chose golden yellow and original luminance as the using variable. So I'll just cancel that. That is our final image. Let's look at it in all its glory, and I'll turn off my interface. I hope you have as much fun making this as I did.